Trnava in southwest Slovakia is well protected by a 3-kilometre-long city wall. Under the protection of the sturdy wall, the monastery and church of Holy Jakobus were created in the 14th century with the support of the House of Anjou. The monastery complex was then considered to be one of the largest religious buildings in the country and served as a place in which God could unite the world. The rulers of both Bohemia and Hungary also used this holy institution on several occasions for political negotiations. A good idea, for God watched over everyone. The new city centre contains an imposing neoclassical theatre and a tower that was built in 1574. From a height of 29 metres, those in the watchtower were able to warn of any threat of fire. The view from here is overwhelming. No wonder this is known as Slovakia's Rome. Its roofs are dominated by 11 churches. Due to the Turkish occupation of 1541, the Archbishop of Gran, today's Esztergom in Hungary, moved his seat to Trnava, as the city was then called. During the next 3 centuries, this was the religious and cultural centre of Hungary. The reputation of the city grew fast. Next, the city tower, the Church of the Holy Trinity, squeezes itself bright white between the monastery and middle-class buildings. Various orders took over the ownership of both church and monastery. Trinitarians were followed by Benedictines and finally by Jesuits. In 1634, the university was founded. The monumental Cathedral of Holy John the Baptist became part of the entire complex as the University Church. A bronze statue in front of the cathedral records a visit here by Pope John Paul II. An ornate main altar fills the entire northern wall, and the early Baroque splendour of coloured and gilded stucco shines out in all of its glory on the ceiling and walls. The altar contains 27 almost life-size figures. And on the side walls are wooden mortuarias, the so-called death plates of members of the Esterházy family. This was the will of the cathedral's donor, the Palatine Nikolaus Esterházy, who engaged various Italian masters for its construction and decoration. The cathedral was finally consecrated on the 30th of August 1673. The Jewish Synagogue was built in 1831, badly damaged during the Second World War and then neglected for several decades. It now contains a cafe, a woman's gallery, along with a permanent collection of Judaica. The Kapitolska Alley in the east of the Old Town, with its restored middle-class buildings of the Middle Ages, was one of the main trade routes through Trnava. The roots of the town date back to the early Middle Ages, when King Bela IV granted it the privileges of a free kingdom in 1238. The West Slovakian Museum was founded in a former Clarist monastery. With wildlife exhibits and regional history, numerous customs and traditional costumes. Also ceramics and folk art, well-preserved embroidery machines, as well as sacred treasures. There's also a collection of church bells and the oratory of the Clarist monastery. From primeval findings through the Middle Ages to a theme-based Renaissance exhibition. The former monastery became a dignified framework for this splendid museum. The wall in the east of the city has also been well preserved. During its 100 years of construction, more than 4.3 million bricks were used. Just beyond the wall is a well-known landmark, the Saint Nikolaus Basilica, which, with the square, forms the historical city centre. For centuries, the two towers have characterised the city's silhouette, and a Baroque figure of Nicholas greets visitors to the church. Built over a period of 19 years on the foundations of a Romanesque church, it was completed in 1440. Gothic frescoes adorn its entrance hall, and Baroque altars recall the splendour of a then-flourishing religious city. The colossal wall paintings on both sides of the 60-metre-long main nave depict scenes of Christian history. A fine decorated wooden chancel frames the main altar in the presbytery. Trnava is a true gem of Renaissance and Late Baroque.